I want to talk to you guys about a sensitive topic this morning. Something I haven't touched on in the last day or so. I was waiting to see some news, and some comments on this particular story kind of bothers me. In the UK, there's a tick up in violence. I want to break that down, and I want to help you guys digest this issue without having to disrespect other cultures or other societies or other religions, but also be honest and truthful about the criticism. Can we do that for once? Stay with me. So, several days ago or a couple weeks ago, we heard of a story of the Sikh guy that got into an altercation with an 18-year-old boy that got stabbed, and then the police mistreated the situation until the boy died in handcuffs, which is a very fucking horrible story. In the last day or 2 days, there's another story of a Sudani person, another immigrant or something, that attempted to do a beheading in the UK and attempted to kill someone else by knife. And thankfully, that person was stopped and the victim was saved. But sadly, that victim lost his left eye. Definitely not a good situation. Definitely something that's messed up and needs to face justice. But to call these criminals, right, and to paint the whole society as these criminals is unjust or as unfair. Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you. What I just I'm reading here, I'm seeing someone says cultures that aren't compatible with the country shouldn't be allowed. Do you think a person like me that grew up in a family that wanted Wajeeh to come out and become a martyr and fight in a terrorist organization that's my parents wanted me to be. I grew up in a very extremist Islamic household that was raising a boy to come out to be a religious jihadist. You think if I didn't come to the West and meet Westerners and understand their mindset and get out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be where I am today fighting Islamist extremism, being the first openly queer person from Saudi Arabia, bringing change on a systematic basis. Let me bring you the second part. Who came to us in the Middle East and conducted Western imperialism in the name of democracy, in the name of freedom, in the name of uh, capitalism, and painted a picture so great of the West and destroyed anything that we have beautiful left in the Middle East Do you think people in the Middle East, if they had economic stability or if they had no wars, they would all migrate and come to the US and the West? No. People ran away in the Middle East away from Islamic extremism. Why is it when a white person or a British person or a white American conduct a heinous crime, we call it this is a mentally ill person? But when a person that was brainwashed but happens to be also brown, we don't call this person mentally ill and don't call this person that needs some mental health services. We call this person a terrorist. We call this person someone that doesn't fit in our that it doesn't come isn't compatible with our culture. This person needs to face justice, yes. But the people that came to the West, majority of them are running away from Islamic extremism. Majority of them are running away from Sharia. I don't know if you know that. Majority of the victims of Al Qaeda and ISIS aren't Christians, aren't Jews, aren't from other faiths. The majority of them are Muslims. Muslims that have sympathized with the West, Muslims that have moderate beliefs, Muslims that do not think in extremist belief ideologies. Do we have people who are extremist Muslims in the West? Yes, we do. Can you fight that Islamic extremism with guns? No. Can you fight that Islamic extremism by kicking them out? No. You know why? Because there are white, British, and European converts from within the European countries that went out of their way to fight with ISIS. So the fight is ideological. It is your job to educate your public about what's happening. And it is your job to bring modern Muslims to have debate with extremist religious Muslims so you can facilitate some sort of modernity instead of just sending spies and not fighting this the right way. You're just using the wrong tactics all along and you're dealing with the side effects and not fixing the origin of the problem. The origin of the problem is an ideology. How do you fix ideology? With war? You don't fix ideology with war. You don't get anywhere. So I condemn this violent attack that happened in the UK by this Sikh person. I condemn the police that wasn't listening to the victim. I condemn the Sudani person that committed this heinous attack. I also condemn the British government that has conducted this type of expansion and destroying Middle Eastern economies that have resulted in Middle Easterners having to leave their country and come to the West. Same thing happened in South America and the United States and the United States and the Middle East. The United States funds this war on terror and funds this war on drugs and send the CIA to deal with drugs and smuggle drugs into the US and get black Americans to get addicted on cocaine and heroin from South America with American CIA support, right? The people in South America end up having to face civil war, the war on drugs, and have disruption to the point where they don't have any stability and lose all joy of living in their home country. What are they going to do? They're going to look for the next best option. USA, you have destroyed the stability that they have in their country. Next thing they're going to do is look for stability somewhere else. You want people in South America to stay in South America, help them stay in South America by improving their economy, by giving them stability, by providing them with resources. You destroying their economy is not going to help. You destroying their government system is not going to help. You enforcing this corruption is not going to help. And then you need cheap labor in the US and you hire people from South America and Mexico, and then you are upset about it, whether you're Republican or Democrat. You have jobs that you don't want to do, so you hire people from South America. You want to call it modern slavery, you want to call it cheap labor, that's up to you. I understand modern slavery. So you have undocumented worker, whether you're Republican or Democrat. And then comes election time, and we use these immigrants as a pawn tool. Oh, they're taking our jobs. Motherfucker, you don't want to do that job. Give me a American citizens that want to work on a farm all day, all night with a minimum wage. I'm not supporting this undocumented. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. You see those immigrants that you don't like of color? Your economy is dependent on it because your white population is not making enough kids. And your expansionism economy is dependent on people that work, whether they're hardworking, cheap working, any expert working. People from the Middle East are highly trained and educated, so they come here, they become doctors, they become engineers, they become business owners. Your economy is benefiting. That's why it's letting. That's why the government has been letting it happen for very long. China now has policies for to encourage people having kids. Japan that is have been having a decline in their population, which I'm not a person that goes out there and tells people to populate. No, no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just explaining to you what's happening. Japan has policies to encourage their citizens to populate. South Korea has policies to encourage their citizens to populate. And guess what? They're not populating enough. So they're resulting to have immigrants for the first time come and work in South Korea and come and work in Japan and come and get asylum for the first time and come and get refugee status for the first time because their economy is dependent on it. You want someone to tell you the truth? I'll tell you the truth. There is no economy in the world that doesn't have some sort of immigrant workers, especially if you're a capitalistic economy, especially if you're in the top 20. Your new generations find it expensive to have kids. Why should I have kids when raising a child would cost me 10 years ago $100,000 from the point they are born to the time they're 18? I don't know how much it's right now. You can't afford to raise yourself as an adult in the United States barely with a dog or a cat. How do you expect people to have kids? Only communities that raise and a community where they support one another, it is affordable for them to become having kids. I know I if you're wanting to ask questions, there is already a question section in my chat, but I wanted to talk about that first. Wanted to talk about the incident. I think the perpetrators need to find justice, the to face justice. The families have of the 18-year-old have shown a lot of empathy and sympathy, and have shown a lot of mercy, and that's very, very noble of them. Um, if you want less immigrants to come and invade your Western society, help improve other countries' economy, improve a win-win society is a win-win global economy is the only economy that you will find happiness in as a Westerner. Trust me. You squeezing the world for the rest of what they have and taking advantage of world economy is amazing for you at the moment, but it is exactly what's bringing you the rest of the global immigrants to your country. If you think your country is overpopulated, if you think your country has too many people from different ethnicity, first of all, that is the way America was designed to be. It's the country of immigrants. That's the title. But if you are also upset and tired of your jobs being taken, according quote unquote, if you're tired of your system being overrun, which European economies have been overrun, their governmental system have been overrun because of immigrations and war. Go do go and help their economy. Give them, tell the International Monetary Fund, tell the International Bank to invest in their country with zero interests, not even interest. Invest in their economy. Go, do something in their country. Give them stability. It's a, it doesn't register, by the way. Most of these people don't even want to leave their country. They want to have stability in the country they were born in. You'll think, well, gee, if he doesn't have a death penalty in Saudi Arabia, would be living in the United States? No, I would be back in Saudi Arabia. I was raised in the 1%. Even if I wasn't raised in the 1%, I would be in between my culture. I would be between my family. I would be between my home food. I would be between my native tongue. People want to be in their home country. America has branded itself as the land of opportunity. So the whole world is coming here for an opportunity, even though it's half a lie and not everyone makes it, and it's very hard, and you have to meet certain criteria and on and on and on and on. And there are so many people that are out there to scam you in the US. And you have to be very vigilant, and you have to be very lucky, and you have to have people guiding you. So much shit has to go right for you. But you have marketed yourself as a destination for the rest of the world. So you either come up with a different marketing tool for your international trade system, which you are dependent on, whether you're a farmer inside of Kansas, Iowa, your soybeans go to China. Now that China stopped buying them, Trump had to go and beg them to go and buy your soybeans from the US. I've been in the US since 2005. I haven't become a US citizen yet. Why aren't gas prices skyrocketing? Good question. Good question. I need to go and ask a different expert because I am confused on that as well. But I think that for some reason people still think this war is almost over, especially that Gulf states are involved themselves in the peace negotiation at this time. And they have been promising that it's getting close. Qataris and the UAE have been um, flying to Iran, and we'll see what happens. I think the fact that the Gulf states are themselves involved in the peace talks for some reason is giving future prices some stability. But the current prices, the spot price is not stable. It's up at 150 $200 depending where you go. Mhm. Any changes in alliances or hints at new deals with Iran considering the newest strikes? No, nothing changed. Everyone's still standing where they're at. What's going on in Iraq? Iraq is a Shi'i dominated state, and most of the people, if not, they're aligned with the Iranian government because Iran supreme leader is the religious figure for the Shi'i community, and his word runs the Shi'i people essentially. If I'm putting it in layman terms, what about Syria? Syria, I shared a video that's very easy and quick about Syria. Syria had Al Assad. Al Assad was fighting in support with the Russian government and the Iranian government. And I'll just reshare that. I'll try to find that video, reshare it again. It does way better, faster explanation than I will do in the time that we have. But Syria is run now by a member of former ISIS, and there's different factions. But this person has so far been trying to show the world that he has changed his ideological point. I'm skeptical until he actually proves that. The Saudi crown prince made a extensive effort of introducing Ahmed al-Julani, that goes now by Ahmed al-Shara, to Donald Trump, the new president of Syria. Donald Trump has met with him and he has established connections with the United States, even though he was on the most wanted list by the CIA. So now he has been removed from the most wanted terrorist list, and he's working in communication with the United States. I don't believe there are any rational thinkers in the Trump circle. Are there any in the RGC? Of course, there's rational actors in the IRGC, but they're all at a point where they don't mind having revenge. It's more like yeah, it's there. You have killed most of their leaders. You have killed most of their family members. Everyone that knows someone that was killed in this war. The new Khamenei lost his father, mother, wife, and daughter. So the John Wick effect of revenge is definitely there, but that doesn't mean that they are not calculated. They are very calculated. They are measuring all of their attacks. They know that they don't have the military superiority, but they know that they have the escalation ladder control, and that they have the ability not only to control the Strait of Hormuz, but the Bab el Mandeb Strait, which is on the Red Sea, also controls a large waterway. And this type of work is the work that of attrition that will make a big difference against the U.S. military. The U.S. military historically hasn't done well with the war of attrition. We have seen that in Vietnam. We have seen that in Afghanistan. We have seen that in right now we are seeing that in Iran. and we don't even have boots on the ground. And I think if we had boots on the ground, we would be getting our asses whooped, and we would be getting a lot of our men and women killed in battle, which I don't think any U.S. soldier or any U.S. citizen is ready to see. Um, I don't think any Americans are ready for their men and women to be sacrificed on the battlefield for something that hasn't uh, risked there was no imminent threat on U.S. territory or national interest by the Iranians for this war. So this war still isn't justifiable for most of Americans, other than 30% apparently. I said that the war, when it started, will take at least 6 months. I think it will take at least another 3 months. That is my estimate. I don't think this war is ending anytime soon. Understanding the Middle East and understanding the hard lines that each party is holding, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. If I do the math in my head, and I'm pretty good at doing, political strategy math in my head in the Middle East. I do it every day, several times a day, and I think about it all day. I think about it. What about this? What about that? What about this? And then bottom line comes Israel, nuclear weapons, and Strait of Hormuz, the blockade, the Iranian allies. There's just so much shit happening that there is no middle line between those requirements. Iran is not going to let go of its 60% highly enriched uranium. Iran is not going to let go of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is not going to let go of its allies in the region, whether it's the Houthis or the Hamas or the Hezbollah or Nasrallah. They're just not going to let go of them. The United States, Trump will not save face at all if he comes back and says, I did not take the nuclear weapon away from Iran, or says, I stopped Iran from having, and he doesn't want to say and having Iran to stop highly enriched uranium or enriching uranium for 20 years. And he wants to open the Strait of Hormuz. Please do the math. You do the math. It doesn't matter how many negotiators you send if Iran doesn't back out from any of these and doesn't have a reason to back out from any of them. And I don't see any reason that would make Iran back out from any of them. Tell me, you tell me, with what rational actors do we have is this war going to end? Unless Congress pulls out the US military and pulls out the rug from under Trump, nothing happened. We will continue this war. And the only thing that I haven't talked about yet is Israel. It doesn't matter how many times Trump is trying to reach a peace deal. It doesn't matter how many times Trump is trying to reach a peace deal. If we cannot control our closest ally that we have joined the war with, then how do you expect to control the result of the end of the war? Do the math. I see a lot of people trying to be hopeful. Oh, the war is over. We have ceasefire. We're sending peace talk people. You can do that all you want, Habibi. You can do that all night, all day. You can send your best friends. You can have dinner, but the war is still going. The blockade's still going. Our economy is still suffering. The oil shortage is still happening. Black market deals are still going. That's the only way people are getting their oil at the moment. Oh. Alyssa, thank you so much for your kind words. That's very nice of you. Who's leaving me alone? No one is leaving me alone. Furthermore, can we talk about the clandestine oil ships moving through the blockade and OPEC releasing more oil during the blockade? Um, there are a lot of ships now taking advantage of the high oil prices and the oil shortages, and they are trying their best. I mean, like some ships are trying to take the risk, especially like unlicensed ships and stuff like that. They are trying to make a quick buck. They are doing clandestine oil ships moving, but the United States says that it has been, allowing ships to get out of this or helping ships get out of the Strait of Hormuz. I think most of those, allowing or helping or whatever they're calling it is just small ships, nothing with oil tankers and stuff like that. And the ships that have got out of the Strait of Hormuz, many of them, most of them came out with Iranian permission through the Easy Pass, where they paid their $2 million fee. So I feel like there's a lot going on there. In Saudi Arabia, is there a type of tea called karkadeh, made of hibiscus? Do you use it for other recipes as well? It is used in Mexican cuisine as well. It is used as a cold drink. We drink hibiscus usually hot. Usually we drink hibiscus hot. But when I tried it cold from Mexican restaurants, I was so it was really thirst clenching. But yes, we do have carcade, and it's used as a medicine, as a natural medicine. I forgot for what kind of illness, but we usually drink it hot with uh and and we add honey to it sometimes and stuff, but it's really good for you. I like hibiscus. And when I found out that Mexican restaurants have it, I always buy it from them now because it reminds me of home. There, I don't know if you know, but there is a lot of commonality between modern South American culture and Middle Eastern society, especially during World War I, World War II, and the industrialization time of the Middle East. A lot of people from the Levant, especially Syria, Lebanon, um, particularly, and some Palestine, majority of Lebanon and Syria, moved to South America to the point that the if you go to Wikipedia, it says the taco is a Lebanese influence, especially if you're looking at the El Pastor that's hanging on the shawarma thing that goes around. According to Wikipedia, according to food expert, this is a Lebanese influence. Additionally, the richest Brazilian is of Lebanese origin, and the richest Mexican is also of a Lebanese origin, FYI. And there are a lot of people in South America who can trace their origin to the Middle East, especially after that migration. And before that, the Spaniards conquered South America and Mexico. And before the Spaniards conquered and the South America and Mexico, we conquered Spain for 600 years. So the Spaniards have a lot of their culture influenced by us, and a lot of their ideology also influenced by us. So when they went to South America, a lot of our culture went with them to South America. A lot of people don't know that. This is how culture moved from one place to another. But there's a lot of history, Middle Eastern history, that has moved to Mexico and South America. Pantalones in Arabic we say pantalon. GOP especially talked about family values, but policies in the U.S. support parents and families, housing, education, food, child care, and on and on. And people are increasingly less connected to extended family, who might make children reeling earlier. So, listen, if we have the GOP talks about family values, and that's all nice and cool, but I don't know, like, why we only let the GOP have family values. It's not like we don't have family values. Everyone has family values. Like, it's just a marketing tactic. Again, it's not right versus left, it's top versus bottom. So, like, when people say it's family values, hold on. My family value says, right, that we should have a lot of amazing education. My family value says that respecting elders is a must. My family value says that the young respect the old. My family value says that having separation of religion or state is a must in order for me to save my right. Like, I have my own family values as well. So one person marketing themselves as having family values and the rest not having family values isn't fair. Is not even a correct argument. What actually is of value is that when we say we can afford $1 billion a day out of war, but we can't afford $1 billion a day for our education system. When we borrow money that we don't have to fight a war that we cannot afford, versus when we invest in the education of our future children, or invest in by the way, governmental services were way more funded before President Reagan. The United States and Europe weren't much that different in the governmental services that they provide for their kids. So, you want to make a difference? You want to have family value? You want to have great education? Family value comes with education. Family value comes with good care from childhood. Family value comes with helping single fathers and single mothers raise their kids when they don't have support, when we don't create an atmosphere where we allow a community to grow, we have destroyed the basis of creating a family. Because what is a family without a community? You're having people moving from one side of another to the country just so they can be closer to family, so they can raise their children. Meanwhile, if we allowed people to have individualized small communities and made it easier for them to grow these communities and created the proper funding for single mothers and single fathers to find these communities and for those kids to have father friends, by the way, those kids get raised up correctly. They have proper examples in front of them. They have experience from childhood. But once we cut those fundings away, once we make it harder for the single parents to work, once we make it harder for these individuals to receive services, we're essentially making it harder for everyone to create a community because we're isolating everyone because everyone is working more than what they have time to afford themselves, their family, and their work. There is no work family balance in the United States anymore. So, convince me how we have $1 billion a day to spend on a war, but we don't have $1 billion to spend on our children. But in Oman, in school, you're allowed to learn about all faiths, not one faith. You want to teach religion, teach all faiths. You don't teach all just one faith. That's but you don't teach which faith is right and which faith is wrong. You just teach this is this faith, this is that faith. Why? Because you understanding the basics allows you to have common foundation between you and your fellow citizen that is different than you, so you can understand each other, understand the 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 um, the dialogue that goes with every religion. Oh my god, what is it? I'm going short on my words today. I apologize. But if you don't have that foundation, it becomes very hard for your fellow citizens to start getting to know each other, regardless of faith. So we need to create that. Yes, we have separation of religion and state, but what we should have, what we should have, is a prayer room instead of a room for people to just practice Christianity. You have a prayer room. Have you been to a an airport where you see a prayer room where all faiths are welcome? You see the Buddha there. You see a prayer rug for a Muslim. You see the things that the Jewish faith wrap in their head and then they tie it to their head. I forgot what it's called. They have different tools, and everyone comes in, practice their prayer, and leaves. Instead of banning everyone from practicing their faith and allowing maybe one or two have faith, allow everyone to practice whatever they want and have them leave the room. That teaches tolerance rather than you teaching others to judge each other or not understand each other's faith or just having to deal with each other in school and then get out. You're running by that faith, you're seeing them practice it and normalize this in society. It makes it easier for us to understand one another. Oh, tell me again, how do you pray? Oh, that's pretty cool. Why? Because you're in the same building, you're in the same place. That softens people's hearts. You want to have a prayer before a football game? Allow everyone to pray the way they want. Instead of banning the prayer, instead of forcing everyone to pray. And if you don't want to pray, you don't pray. But forcing everyone to pray in one faith is not fair. And banning everyone to pray at all is also not fair. You have to have a middle line. You have to have balance. You have to have a yin and yang, creating an atmosphere. So, like when you go to the wild, things equal each other out unless we intervene for some reason. Things equal themselves out. Animals eat each other. Winter comes, spring comes, fall comes, the four season comes. It changes on us. As it changes the environment and it balances itself out. You have to allow to create a perfect balance in a school and in a community. It's not just one or the other. It's you have to come back and go. So Trump won't stop the war, and neither will Netanyahu. Where does China stand on all of this? China is coming out to be the peacemaker. China is benefiting from this war. Russia is benefiting from this war economically. They're not benefiting as much there as they would be if the economy was open. Don't take me wrong, but they're benefiting while everyone else is not benefiting. If you're going to measure it that way, everyone is losing money, and the only ones that are maybe making money is Russia and China to some extent. They have losses here and there. They're not making as much money, but they're making some money while everyone is losing money. Um, and the surprising part is they are the ones that are coming out as the wise guy. For a long time, American diplomacy showed prestige, showed hegemony, showed power, showed resiliency. And uh Trump's back and forth of decision making and not having a steady opinion and not having a steady, stable presidency, and with firing a lot of U.S. generals and with a lot of other mistakes that are happening, has eroded that prestige and has eroded that hegemony and has eroded that respect on the global stage. That the American word now doesn't matter, doesn't hold any weight as it used to. That's my honest feedback. So when Trump says that we are close to peace 39 times, It is in a war that has lasted 101 days so far. That makes you laugh. That makes you laugh. That doesn't show any that doesn't show like anything that relates to reality. It just shows someone that is trying to manipulate the economy rather than actually get to peace. I don't know if you know this, but US official diplomats and other US officials has formally informed the Iranian government to ignore Trump's tweets as they said, quote unquote, they're supposed to affect American political opinion and has no actual implication on our peace negotiations. Do you know that? Did you know that your US officials has formally told Iran to ignore Trump's tweets? Why is that? Well, let's think of how that affected the the US word. Now Trump's word is worth nothing. So Trump doesn't have the courage to stop this war. His word is worthless, and the people around him are unintelligent, unexperienced, and unwilling to hear from people who know exactly what they are doing, citing them and firing top generals from the US military in the midst of war. How much is immigration in Saudi Arabia? I'm assuming is like how much is of the population in Saudi Arabia are immigrants? I believe about half or more. More than half or half of the Saudi population are immigrants. Um, about 1-to-1 ratio from Arabic countries and third world countries and then first world countries as well. Mostly they hire nurses from the Philippines. They hired doctors from Western countries, Arabic countries, and then they hire teachers from Arabic countries, and then they hire slave workers from third world countries. And then with the expansion of the Saudi economy now, they're hiring entertainers from all over the world. They're hiring chefs from all over the world. Um, so the Saudi economy is really dependent on immigration. Someone says, I believe hibiscus tea helps with lowering blood pressure. That does sound about right. Do you think the United States is lost to what has happened to it now being a surveillance state? How can we ever get out of individual autonomy, returning it all of our information is gone? I don't know if you know this, but the United States has become a surveillance state starting back in 2002, 2001, after 9/11. And I was taught since my early childhood to understand that I'm always being surveilled, whether when I was in Saudi Arabia or whether I was in the United States. Especially Muslims and people of color after 9/11, they were closely monitored phone calls, emails, messages, you name it. That's why NSA existed. And it was, and in fact, not only that, we also spied on our uh, adversaries, obviously. adversary leaderships and even spied on our leadership of allied nations. We got caught spying on the German chancellor during the Obama administration once, and we had the United States to apologize for that. But our we also expect that our adversaries are spying on us. There was a recent article that came out that said not only Israel was spying on our governmental officials, they were actively blackmailing our U.S. officials to um, do exactly what Israel wants, whether they were local, state, or federal officials. Representatives and appointed officials have been blackmailed by the Israeli government to do exactly what Israel wants. That's a very scary thing to happen, isn't it? But that's Israel for you. Uh, United States has just changed the way it does surveillance from individually one-on-one and some use of AI to fully indoctrinating AI. I don't know if you know this, but the way we caught Osama bin Laden is by using AI to verify a lot of information and cross reference a lot of information that allowed us to reach to that conclusion. What that tells you is that the use of AI, especially in the CIA and the US Pentagon, has been used since the Obama administration and since before the Obama administration. I talked a little bit about that in a previous podcast. I was talking on Peloton, and Peloton was the company that, not Peloton, uh, what is it called? Palantir. Palantir is the company that started working, and no one knew about Palantir back in 2000 during the Obama administration, but they existed as a company and they worked for the US government since the Obama administration. So, yes, it has been going on for decades, and you just were not aware about it. You're just aware about it now. What you can do is you can run for office and demand laws and regulations to be changed. I saw, a great idea by Bernie Sanders. He said that we, the public, should be the ones to own AI instead of AI being owned by private companies. I think for something like AI, especially in the beginning, it should be treated similarly to how the internet was treated in the beginning. um, and I think there should be a lot more laws and regulations. And I think that it should be a public service rather than it should be a tool used by private companies to make more money for themselves. And the more we see companies using AI now to kill people, mass surveillance people, your tweets, your comments, your messages are all being sent to. Uh, where is this coming from? I thought I had stopped. I had some vibration from my phone. So yeah, someone's saying I have neighbors and I don't know that neighbors I don't know well, but by their accent, I think they're Iranian. I'm always friendly and say hi, but would like to express more concern and support them and their family given the current situation without seeming too noisy or invasive of their privacy. Any tips? Yes, I have few tips. You can put signage of all welcome in different languages that exist out there. Some people use it, and you can put that on your yard. On certain holidays, if you notice that your neighbor is putting any light decoration, it is always nice to put light decoration in support of your neighbor, whether it's Ramadan or whether it's Eid or whether it's Husseinia or whether it's a different neighbor from, I don't know any Jewish holiday other than Hanukkah, and I don't know any holidays in Buddhism or Hinduism or uh, Sikhism or any other language or any other religions. But if you see your neighbor celebrating that, it doesn't hurt putting that decoration out. You already celebrate every other holiday that exists on the calendar. Why not celebrate your neighbor's holidays? It immediately shows that they are welcome in the neighborhood. It immediately shows the rest of the neighbors that they're not that neighbor that is right there is not alone. That other people in the neighborhood stands with them. I've seen examples of that done in the US previously, and I've seen neighbors do that with other neighbors who don't share the same faith, don't share the same ethnicity, race, or culture or language. But that's what you could do. You could always also make a dish, make a vegetarian dish to stay on the safe side. No pork, no nuts, no nothing like that, and always gift some cookies away. We have a saying, empty stomachs fill an empty stomach, you have a softened heart. And if you ever want to have an introduction with someone, your American hospitality is not bad, by the way. If you do it correctly, American hospitality is a good way of getting to know each other. You make dishes. I know you like to make casserole and you like to invite over. Just know if your neighbor does consume alcohol or not, or that's about it. And whether they have any food or dietary restrictions, that's always a safe question to ask and see where things go. A barbecue is always a great start. Sharing meals is always a good start. If they drink alcohol, sharing a cup every once in a while is an amazing, beautiful way. Having an open house in your neighborhood is also a great idea. There's plenty of ways. If you want more ideas, let me know. I'm more than happy to help. What other questions do you guys have for me? I don't see any more questions on my chat today. By the way, my merch hat is out and about. So if you haven't gotten yourself one, go get yourself one. We still have our Pride merch out and we still have our mugs out. So make sure to take this opportunity and purchase a piece of our merch. And someone was asking about when will they receive the products. I thought they should be getting shipped. I'm also waiting on my product. But they should be getting shipped here soon. I'm reaching out to Bonfire to check with them and figure things out, and I'll keep you guys posted. Um, Sauter, the United States is called a melting pot, and some like to debate that it's a salad because apparently people do self segregate in the United States, believe it or not. Studies have shown, not my opinion. Fatwa question mark? Fatwa, what about the fatwa? You live in a tiny town. Well, gee, can I only stay for a few minutes and I will watch the replay? Thank you for coming in. And if fatwa is fatwa real risk for Trump and others? Which fatwa? Is there a fatwa that came out that I don't know about? I'm not seeing anything about a fatwa. Here's another question or two. No question, just gratitude. Thank you. We love you. We respect your knowledge. Oh, thank you. You know, about losing subscribers, it is what it is. But if you like my content, I hope you consider becoming a paid subscriber. We don't. Well, I'm not here without your support. The only reason I am here is because you guys have been supporting me. I'm very grateful for every one of you. You have shown me, great kindness, and your support is exactly what makes this possible. I'm literally recovering from a surgery. I'm not doing any other job other than this. This is my full-time job. You guys answering your questions and covering the news and analyzing the situation and educating people about what Middle Eastern culture is all about, and without watering it down or without simplifying it or without filters. And I hope that you appreciate this type of information. And if you do, I hope you become a paid subscriber. And if you can't, that's okay. I have given away maybe 10, 20 paid subscriptions away yesterday alone. So I'm more than happy to give away paid subscriptions to people who cannot afford it. But if you can afford it and want to support the type of work I do, the independent journalism, the type of education that I have, please consider giving one away, okay? Or becoming a paid subscriber. What is the hat you are wearing called? In English, it's called the fez hat. In Arabic, it's called the tarbush. This was made by hand in a mold that's about 400 years old, 300 years old. This made out of straws in the middle and then some leather on those sides. Usually they put silk on the bottom, but the person that made it for me was a little lazy. This is one of the last shops that makes them by hand in Egypt. And it was part of the hierarchy during the Ottoman Empire. If you were someone of some sort of position, you would wear it. After the Ottoman Empire fell and after King Farouk fell of Egypt, the tarbush went out of fashion, but the Al Azhar University, the according to Muslims, is the oldest university on the planet, but it's a historical Islamic university that existed for maybe 500 years or more, at least 500 years or more. It's a very ancient university that has existed for Islamic teaching. And Al Azhar University has made it there that all graduates must wear a turban with a fez hat, a specific fez hat, thus made for religious figures with a turban. It looks nothing like if nothing. Even if I wrap this with a turban, it wouldn't look the same. But that fez hat is designed for religious figures who has graduated that university and is part of their costumes. So technically, that company was supposed to go out of business, but because the university changed their rules and regulations, that company stayed in business till today after the fall of the king Farouk. And now uh, companies and film companies go to them to make custom authentic ones. Unfortunately, they don't make it in the same legacy it used to be made in. So I reached out to them and I was like, what if I want to have like the old school, some cashmere, uh, red cashmere cloth, and I wanted some custom silk, and I was willing to pay a couple $100 for it. And the guy was basically, nah, not interested. And I was really disappointed because I wanted to get something like this really extra fancy. But they're more interested in making it cheap and advertise for the religious figures and some tourists. But you have to know where you're going. Otherwise, you'd get one made out of cardboard that's mass made, produced, and that's not real authentic. Where's my phone? Here's my phone. I hope that answers your questions about the Fez hat. I am a collector of Fez hats in particular. So if you have one that you don't want, or even if you have one from a lodge, or if you have one from even I like to collect the American ones as well as the Middle Eastern ones. But if you have one that you don't want, send it my way. I'll collect it. What is the history of it? It used to be part of the uh, status role in the Middle East. By the way, I have learned so much from you. Thank you. Why do you think about the selling of the Albanian island? Did they sell it to China? Who did they sell it to? How do you donate a paid membership? You go to buy a membership the same way place that you went to get your membership. There is a place where you can donate a membership. All you need is someone else's email that is associated with the Substack account, and that way you can add them. I do have only 9% left of my battery, so I would suggest um, sending it through your questions right now if you have any. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner are in negotiation to buy it. That's shady. Anything these two are involved in, I have question marks. Especially that Jared Kushner is running the Jeffrey Epstein financial system plan. Shady, ah, shady, yeah, shady Kushner. Any other questions? The Albanians are mass protesting. Good for them. Good for them. Again, someone was asking me yesterday How do you stop Netanyahu from doing whatever he's doing? And I repeat it again, convincing the Israelis to protest Netanyahu and conduct civil disobedience inside Israel. The protest that we do in the West and in the Middle East puts pressure diplomatically and shows the Middle East that we stand along with the side with them, but it doesn't do shit. It doesn't end the Israeli oppression of the Palestinian people. Israelis themselves need to go in there and demand an end to what's happening by the Netanyahu regime. Someone asked me, Wajeeh, how can you tell, Israelis to come out and, protest their government, knowing that their government is going to oppress them? And here's my answer to that. My answer to that was if I was in Saudi Arabia and I am not a prince, I am a subject, and I see in front of me a modern a person that is in modern slavery, and that person is being abused. Do I go tell that person that's being abused to protest the government that's oppressing him and forcing him to be part of this modern slavery? Or am I, as a Saudi subject, person that's above him, supposed to protest the Saudi government and demand that he gets better treatment and should have a union? Which one is applicable? We need to ask the Israelis to demand justice and end the suffering that is created by the Israeli government. You want us to fight for you to have Abrahamic Accord? No worries. Help me help you. You want us to demand that there should be existence of Israel and that they would live alongside the Arabs and the Muslims? Okay. Show us that you care. Show us that you are against what's happening. Let us feel some sort of way against the injustice against the Palestinian and how you feel against it. The Israelis themselves, if you want the war with Iran to end and you want the escalation in Lebanon to end, you need to convince the Israelis inside Israel to protest their government. Period. Period. Netanyahu, the only reason he's in power is because he barely was able to get a government together, and it happens all to be part of the far right. Okay. Where's the rest of the Israeli voice? It's suppressed. Then the Israeli people need to come out and protest. The Israeli people that are against this war need to come out and say we're against this war. I'm seeing few young voices, but where's the rest? They were on the I think you're still talking about that island they were trying to purchase. Anyways, my friends and my fellow listeners, I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you supporting my channel. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me and for the work that I have done. I hope that you would give me more of your support and more of your uh, uh, time to do more education, more work. We're still working to get that Zoom scheduled. Let me reach out to Bonfire regarding the shirts that you have purchased. Like, subscribe, and comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching a recording, click that bell icon to receive the latest updates. We'll see you tomorrow.